Hi, I'm Danielle, and this is Chatter Out Loud, a podcast where I share thoughts and TV commentary on shows I like to watch. Now, before I start, I want to ask that you go ahead and like, follow, share, and subscribe. And on YouTube, where I upload my companion episode of my podcast, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. This way you can get a notification every time I post a new episode and you won't miss out. So welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. Your presence is very much appreciated. All right, BBCAN fans, I have one question I want to ask you first. Is there any bacon in the building? I hate to say it, but that Wendy's commercial, it got me. Wendy's got me again. I talked a little bit about it in my last BBCAN update. Way back in the 80s, they were saying, "Where's the beef?" Wendy's, they had this whole promo and it kind of took off. Everyone was saying, "Where's the beef?" And now in 2022, we have the "Where's the bacon?" And for the past 2 days, I've been asking, where is the bacon? Is there any bacon in the building? I quickly realized, and I have to admit, I'm definitely the target audience for these cheesy sayings. It's stuck in my head. I was going to go to Wendy's drive-thru and ask, where is the bacon? Or is there any bacon in the building? It's so ridiculous. Do you think they look at me like I'm nuts? Where is the bacon? I don't know. That just makes me chuckle. Anyway. All right. So I didn't want to make this too long. We have to be rested for today. I planned on recording this last night. But I was just so tired, you guys. I'm back in the office a day or two a week. And that drive, I'm getting used to it again. Anyway, tonight is BBCAN10's Season Finale. Last night's final power of veto. It looked really hard. And it was like a maze type quiz kind of thing. So they had to... The setting, well, let me back up. The setting, I think the name of the Power of Veto competition was called Down and Dirty. The setting was a sewer, and it looked pretty intense. And they had to go through this maze and answer questions and then slither through the maze and come back. There were a lot of memes on Twitter. There was a lot going on. They were calling specific house guests rats and thought that how befitting to have this sewer competition down and dirty, because they consider both Kevin and Helena rats. Well, they really consider Helena a rat, but they just found it interesting how this is the final competition and the two slimy people are playing in it. Actually, it's 3 because some people consider Josh pretty slimy as well. But anyway, it looked like a hard competition. It was pretty cool to me. And as we know, Josh won the power of veto. Helena came in second. I also wanted to acknowledge the camera shots that they had when each player came out to play. The dark lighting, the effects. I liked it. Okay, so as I said, Josh won, and I have to admit, all of the deliberation between he and Kevin, and then he and Helena, I thought Josh was going to get rid of Betty. I really did. I've been looking at him sideways ever since he put up Summer and then put up Betty, and so I don't trust anything Josh does until it actually happens. But he didn't betray Betty this time. He kept his word to her. He took her off the block. I guess I should back up a step. I was so into this "where's the bacon" thing. Josh is the head of household. He nominated Kevin and Betty. They played in that final power of veto last night. Josh won the power of veto. So there was a lot of deliberation on who he would take off and who's going to be going home, or have the sole vote to vote out the person to go home. Kevin, like I said, ever since Josh won that power of veto, he was walking around the house just antsy, feeling like his game is coming to an end, and crying and all of that stuff. Anyway, I thought that Josh was going to get rid of Betty, and he didn't. He actually kept his word to her. He took her off the block. And that by default, because there's only 4 players left, 2 of the 4 are nominated. 1 is the HOH. So by taking Betty off, Helena defaulted and went on the block. And then there was more deliberation between Josh and Betty. And I at that time, when Josh and Betty were talking, I thought Kevin was going home. And that didn't happen either. So Betty wound up, or she opted to evict Helena. And so this is part of the disadvantage of not having the live feeds, because we have no idea how that turned, because prior to the commercial, we thought that Kevin was going home. I mean, the crying and the carrying on and Betty calling Kevin a devil or not trustworthy or something to that effect. I really thought Kevin was going home, but surprise, surprise, we come back from commercial and Helena was evicted. I don't know if that was such a great move. I mean, based on the jury segment, right? Kevin isn't hated in the jury. The jury spoke about Josh and Helena being slimy, which you can't really argue with, but that doesn't make them bad people, right? That was their gameplay. Kevin was underhanded too in the game though, but I guess with him it's more accepted. We know Helena is good at puzzles and memory, so maybe it was the best to get rid of her now, because she could have a chance of winning one of the final parts of the final HOH, and Kevin hasn't proven to be that good at comps. So maybe it was a good move, because either one of them, meaning Josh or Betty, could beat Kevin. I don't know. In the end, I really think Josh doesn't have a shot no matter who he is next to in the final 2. I do think that Betty would win against either of these guys, and if she's in the final 2, and Kevin would have the best shot against Josh, I think. Yeah, that's what I think. So after Betty evicted Helena, we're down to Betty, Josh, and Kevin as the final 3. What do you think? Do you think they made the right choice? They got rid of the right person? Do you think, how about who in the final 2 out of these 3 players? Who do you think, based on, do you think if Josh and Kevin sat next to each other that Josh would win, or Kevin? If Betty and Josh were next to each other, who would win? So I don't think Josh has a shot, to be honest. He has too many people he's ticked off. And like I said, I think Kevin only has a shot against Josh. And I think Betty really has, if she makes it in the final 2, I think she really has a shot to win against either of these guys. But we'll have to see. Oh, yeah. And as we suspected, Canada gets a vote. Canada is the 9th jury member. I don't know if things would change, if this would change any of my predictions. I think Canada sees it too. But like I always say, I could be wrong about any or all of this. All right. So last night's POV, the final power of veto, was a great competition, was great theater, great lighting, great game talk, right? Had me confused. I didn't know, are they getting rid of Helena, getting rid of Kevin? And the crying and the vows to advocate for one another in the jury. I mean, Kevin and Helena and the theatrics in the storage room. I will advocate for you. Like, what? But I loved all of it, right? Don't we love that stuff? All right, so tonight is the finale. We know that Betty, Josh, or Kevin is going to be the winner. One of those 3 will be the winner of BBCAN Season 10. I'm excited about it. I'm also interested to see who's going to win Canada's favorite player. Have you been voting? And I have one final question. No, I'm not going to do that anymore. Enough with the bacon. All right, I'll be back to give my final thoughts on finale night. And you can share your thoughts on who wins as well. So I invite you to come back and share. Don't forget, I'm going to start talking about The Circle soon. I watched 30 minutes of episode 1 on my lunch break yesterday. I plan on watching a little bit on my lunch break today. I'm already loving Frank's energy. Just have to throw that out there. He was so hyped to fill out his profile. Just so loud, and just the volume. It just cracked me up. And already John, who is playing Carol. I have to figure out how I'm going to call these people. maybe I'll use both their names, John Carroll. And that would mean that John is playing the game as Carol, right? So the person who's playing it, and then the catfish person. Maybe that's how I name it, John Carroll. So anyway, John Carroll is already making connections, at least with the first 4 players. That's what I got up to. And they're already using a hashtag Mama Carol. So we've seen this before. Anyway, I'm going to be talking about The Circle. I plan to watch more tomorrow night, and I'll try to do an upload on Saturday. I'm still working out if I'm going to do 1 to 2 episodes, or do just episode 1 and then moving forward do 2 episodes. I'm still figuring it all out, so just grant me a little grace. All right, so look out for my reviews and my partial recaps on The Circle season 4. All right, and that's all I have, so be sure to come back and give me a listen. I'd love for you to like, share, follow, and subscribe. Thank you very much. All right, and my name is Danielle, and you're listening to my podcast, Chatter Out Loud. Thank you so much for joining me, and as always, I appreciate your support. And that's all I have. Thanks again for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.